made her jump. Something had struck the underside of the floor. She shifted position, peering down through a gap in the floorboards. A tiny, bloodshot eye, half hidden beneath a bushy grey eyebrow, glared back at her through a plume of dust. Oberon gave a yelp of surprise, then sneezed violently.
"I can see you, you little maggot."
"Who are you calling a maggot?" Tanya said indignantly. "We've only just arrived. We haven't done anything to you."
"Doesn't matter."
The glare deepened.
"You're all the same. A nuisance, that's what."
"I could say the same thing about you," Tanya retorted. "Always getting me into trouble for no good reason. It's not my fault I can see you. I wish I couldn't, you know."
"Be careful. What do you wish for?" the horrid little voice said. "I could easily stamp out your eyes while you sleep."
The words sent a chill over the back of Tanya's neck, but the stubborn streak in her would not allow herself to be bullied.
"And I could easily stamp you out altogether," she whispered.
"I should think you'd fit quite nicely under the heel of my shoe." She held her breath. The bloodshot eye widened, then narrowed.
"Insolent wretch!"
The eye vanished from the gap and was replaced by a glimpse of jagged, yellowing teeth.
"You wait. Just you wait."
A low growl rumbled in Oberon's throat. He couldn't understand what was being said, of course, but he knew that his beloved Tanya was being threatened, and he didn't like it one bit. "Tanya?" Her mother's voice nearby startled her. She sat up, banging her head on the corner of the coffee table. "Ouch! What?" Her mother was watching her carefully, a puzzled look on her face. It was a look Tanya had seen many times. "What are you doing?" Tanya rubbed the sore spot on her head. "Nothing. She hesitated, tempted, as she so often was, to simply tell the truth. I thought I saw a..." Her mother's expression was changing, from puzzled to impatient. "Tanya, please don't say a fairy," she said. Her voice was suddenly weary and very quiet. "You're 12, much too old for all that nonsense now." "A spider," Tanya finished, her shoulders slumping. It was no good. Her mother had never listened before. Nobody had. Why should things be any different now?
"Ooh, a spider, am I?" crowed the voice from beneath the floorboards. "So, the daughter can see me, but the mother can't. Oh, I'll have some fun with this. You see if I don't."
Tanya got up from the floor and sank miserably onto the sofa, the fairy's gleeful laughter ringing in her ears. The relief on her mother's face did little to make her feel any better. It wouldn't last. The fairy had promised trouble, and Tanya knew only too well that she would get it. It was just a question of when. "Why don't you start unpacking, and I'll put together some lunch?" her mother suggested. Tanya nodded glumly. She got up and collected her suitcase, then trudged to the back of the cottage. The first bedroom was larger, with the four-poster bed her mother had described, and a quaint old-fashioned bathtub just visible through another small door into the bathroom. The second bedroom was simpler and smaller, but bright and cheerful, with crisp lemon bedding and matching curtains. She heaved her suitcase onto the bed and unzipped it, pulling out her clothes and shoes into a messy pile, then went over to the tiny window and stared out. A rambling flower garden with a narrow stone path lay before her like something from a picture book. As she watched, a little brown hedgehog ambled across the grass, and 2 robins perched on a crumbling bird bath. She smiled faintly, then almost tripped over Oberon, who had crept in and settled on the rug behind her. He thumped his tail as she scratched his chocolate-brown head, before gathering an armful of clothes to put away. Oberon settled down for a snooze. She worked quietly.